The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
It's one of my favourite times of the month when we go over to chat to our Dr. David Deardon. Welcome back.
Hi, Selena. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Are you better?
Good. Well, apparently March is National Kidney Month. So we're going to be talking about kidneys and the kidney and how to look after it and what symptoms you should look out for and so on and so forth.
Right. Okay.
So how can we look after our kidneys?
Oh, there's a question.
Drink lots of water.
How do we look after them? Oh my goodness. That's thrown me sideways. How do we look after them? So from a physiological point of view, you've got to use them. They've got to be used. So the kidney has many functions. Most people think the functions just make urine, but actually it's much more complicated. The kidney plays a very important role in balancing minerals such as sodium and potassium and a little molecule called phosphorus in the blood levels, and therefore that the function of the kidney there is to control blood pressure, and it controls the balance of fluid in the body. The other thing the kidney does is that it's one of the ways in which the body gets rid of waste chemicals. Obviously, we've got the gut, which gets rid of eaten or ingested waste products, but the kidneys get rid of the waste that is produced by way of metabolism within our body. So our body produces lots of waste molecules, and the liver, which is the major organ that deals with getting rid of waste, does most of the work, getting rid of byproducts of metabolism, getting rid of byproducts of drugs or chemicals that we ingest, or biochemical reactions. But the kidney does that as well, and particularly it gets rid of some of the byproducts of digestion, some of the medications get excreted by the kidney, muscle activity, byproducts excreted by the kidney, etc., etc. And then the kidney also makes hormones, which control blood pressure, and it also makes another chemical called erythropoietin, which prompts the bone marrow to make red blood cells. And what else? Let me think. And bone. So the kidney also makes vitamin B active, or makes an active form of vitamin B, which is required to allow the bone to stay healthy. The bones are not static; they're always being replaced and repaired.
Oh.
And the fascinating fact is that the kidney actually filters all of your blood every 30 minutes.
Really?
So your blood goes through the kidney every 30 minutes. It has a massive part of the cardiac output goes through the kidney, and the blood is constantly being cleaned by the kidney. So really, to keep the kidney healthy, you need to be well hydrated. You need to basically make sure you eat, healthy food rather than food that's complicated that makes the kidney have to do more work, and so on and so forth. So it's mostly about hydration and fluid balance, which is a good thing for kidney. And so from that point of view, fine. And then the other way to keep it healthy, obviously, is avoid trauma, because you've got two kidneys. It's the back, just below your ribs, or where the back of your ribs are, but trauma can damage kidneys. So those are the two ways, biochemically and physically.
Yeah. I suppose if you were to have a fall, you could damage your kidneys, couldn't you, if you fell on your back?
Yeah, well, you can. They're very well protected in that they sit close to the spine, and they actually do sit within the rib cage. Ironically, at the back, the ribs come down quite a long way, and the diaphragm goes up quite high. So the kidneys sort of are protected. They are partly exposed. It's quite rare to damage them badly from a fall, but they can be, or from a penetrating injury, of course.
So if somebody has kidney disease, why would they get kidney disease? Presumably because they're not living a healthy lifestyle and looking after their kidneys. But what sort of symptoms would you have to look out for?
Well, it's interesting, actually. I think the kidney disease is very rarely caused by what people do. Different to liver disease, where liver disease is more commonly caused by lifestyle and activity. Most kidney disease is caused by acquired problems, things that you're either born with or the way your body works. And we call that chronic kidney disease, and it's estimated about 1 in 7 people have probably got chronic kidney disease. So the common ones are things like polycystic kidney disease. This is where the body creates little fluid-filled bags within the kidney, and they can replace the normal kidney tissue, and the amount of functioning kidney gets less and less. Now, when you see a cyst in the kidney, if we scan people, 20 to 30% of people would have 1 or 2 cysts, and they're no consequence. The polycystic kidneys are when there's hundreds or thousands of cysts in the kidney, and the normal kidney tissue is replaced by bags of fluid that don't do anything. Then there are other conditions that you can get, things like nephritis, interstitial nephritis, which is a reaction often to something you might take, a drug or a chemical that you may ingest inadvertently. Not things like some painkillers can cause it, which cause inflammation of the kidney, and that inflammation damages the kidney. And then there's a condition called glomerulonephritis, where the actual filtration system of the kidney is affected. The kidney is made of 2 parts. Embryologically, it develops from 2 parts of the embryo. The first part is coming from the reproductive organs and the cloaca, and a tube grows up from there, which eventually forms the bladder and the ureter, and that's the part of the kidney that drains the urine. But then the other part of the kidney comes from a ridge of tissue that sits at the back of the body, which creates the kidney tissue itself, and that's the filtration part of the tissue, and they sort of fuse together. So you can get inflammation of the glomerulus, which is really a complicated cluster of blood vessels that sit within the kidney, where the blood is actually filtered across membranes. A bit like when we were at school and we used to put, fluids in membranes, tissues. The fluids move past each other, and high concentrations of waste filter across into the urine. So that's an inflammatory problem. You can get pyelonephritis, which is chronic low-grade or chronic aggressive infections that can affect the kidney and damage the kidney. Some viruses can also affect the kidney. So most kidney disease is not really something that the patient has really gone out and got for themselves. Unlike hepatitis, which we know is related to alcohol or lung disease or lung cancer, we know that's often related to pollutants or smoking. Kidney disease is a different group of diseases.
Okay, and what about kidney stones, David? Because they're really painful, aren't they?
Extremely painful. So kidney stones are a situation where, because the kidney filters lots of molecules and lots of chemicals, those chemicals actually are present in the urine. And a bit like all fluids where there's a lot of chemical in them, sometimes the chemical can crystallize and form little nidai of crystals, which then start to grow. And some people may remember at school growing crystals and so on in chemistry lessons, where you just put a little tiny crystal into a concentrated solution, and the crystal gets bigger and bigger. And the kidney does the same thing. It produces stones of various types, and they can be very painful, but they're really only painful when they move. And if you can imagine, there's a very thin tube that goes from the kidney all the way down your back to your bladder, and then there's a thin tube out of your bladder into the outside world.
Is that the urinary tract?
The urinary tract. So you've got the ureter, which is the tube that carries the urine from the kidney to the bladder. And then you have the urethra, which is the tube that carries the urine from the bladder to the outside world. And normally when you get kidney stone pain, it's when the kidneys have moved out of the kidney and are travelling down the tube at the back. And essentially what they're doing is they're scratching the inside of the tubes.
Ooh.
And that's what gives you the pain. And sometimes the stones are small, sometimes they're big, sometimes they're sharp, sometimes they're irregular. And people say it's one of the 3 most painful pains you can have. And it's of a similar gravity to having a heart attack, for instance, or possibly a stroke, or not a stroke, a ruptured aneurysm in the brain. It's very, very painful.
Yeah, I know people that have had them and they've said that. I would imagine if they're quite large, I mean, am I right, if they're quite small you can pass them naturally, but if they're large, particularly for a man, it's a lot harder?
Well, yes, if they're large, sometimes they don't move and they cause different types of problems. If they're small, they're the ones that tend to move and they're very, very painful. But large kidneys can grow in. Sorry, not large kidneys. Large stones can grow in the kidney. And actually, there is a condition called staghorn stone where the whole kidney fills up with stone material, calcified waste products. And if you look at it on an X-ray, it looks like a reindeer's, antlers. It's quite remarkable, but they are quite. They damage the kidney and they can be removed. But these days we tend to use a thing called lithotripsy, which is shockwaves to break the stones up, and then we wash the stones out. And obviously, when the pieces are very small, they're easier to wash out, but they're still painful. And in some cases, we need to actually operate on people and put special collecting devices into the kidney through the bladder, under anaesthetic, of course, and then trap the stones and pull them out that way. Or there's another operation where we can very carefully actually put a tube into the kidney through the back and take the stones out that way.
Okay. Would there be any other symptoms other than pain? I mean, obviously they're going to be very painful, but how would somebody recognise that it could be kidney stones? Are there other symptoms?
The two symptoms are really pain and blood in the urine. But sometimes the blood can't be seen. So not most reliable symptom. But when you test the urine, you can find blood in the urine.
Okay. And just going back to kidney disease, is there management for it or cure for it?
Well, I mean, so kidney disease per se is a massive subject. So if the kidney's not working well because of, remember I described all the various things the kidney does, all those things can affect the body. Sorry about that. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
The main problem is blood pressure problems and fluid balance problems. So that can be treated with blood pressure tablets and medication to control the blood pressure. But the other things really are abnormalities in potassium levels, which can cause muscle or nerve problems. You can get fluid balance problems where the fluid builds up in the legs and in the body, or more worryingly in the abdomen or in the lungs. And as people get advanced kidney disease, they become very tired, weak, and they then have a whole host of symptoms from sleep issues, urticaria, itching, skin discoloration, shortness of breath, and it's a continually worsening problem, which is monitored by blood tests to look at the build-up of a chemical called creatinine in the body, and also to look at the other waste products like urea and potassium. And then when people get to a stage where the kidneys are really not keeping the person healthy, then that's when people are put forward for dialysis, which is a chronic disease management treatment, which is either done by dialysis of the blood or dialysis of the peritoneum. The peritoneum is the lining of the intestines, and what we do there is we can put fluid into the peritoneum and let it balance out with the blood in the veins and capillaries, and then drain the fluid out and put more fluid in. Peritoneal dialysis is quite a gentle way of dialysing people, but blood dialysis or hemodialysis is really the gold standard more and more now, where people have their blood taken out and put through a special kidney washing machine type, which filters the blood and cleans the blood and puts the blood back in. But that's time consuming, and it means people with chronic kidney disease have to spend several hours, 2 or 3 times a week in a dialysis centre where their blood is taken out, washed and put back. And if that doesn't happen, then they become, more and more ill and less able to do the normal daily things. And then, of course, the cure treatment for kidneys is transplantation, which is my subject. That's what I did when I was back in the UK. I was a kidney transplant surgeon. So kidney transplants are clearly the gold standard treatment for people who have got to this terrible sort of end-stage kidney disease, where they really have got no functioning kidney tissue at all, and they need support either by dialysis or by transplantation, which is a life-saving operation.
And you have to have 2. You can't live with 1 kidney.
No, you can live with 1 kidney. You can live with 1.
Is that why some people donate a kidney to a loved one if they're a match?
Absolutely. So we know from disease, and particularly from stone disease or disease, that you can live very well without 1 kidney. We found this out after the First World War. We found could live without 1 kidney, and also there's congenital conditions where people only have 1 kidney, and it's very, very reasonable to donate a kidney to somebody, and you can survive on 1 kidney as long as that kidney stays healthy.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, the body's an amazing thing, isn't it? But it's also amazing what we can do. I mean, when you talk about dialysis and the kidney stones and cleaning them up, it's just incredible how far we've come.
Well, I think nature's fascinating, full stop, and I think the way our bodies work and other animals work, it's quite remarkable how it all comes together. And I mentioned embryology earlier on. It's fascinating how the embryo actually creates these things like kidneys and livers and so on. But the science that's behind where we've come from and where we're going to is amazing. And now we are actually now growing artificial kidneys in the laboratory that actually function in the same way as our normal kidneys do.
Wow.
And that is the next breakthrough, to grow kidneys in the laboratory. Using stem cells and stem cell technology to create a functioning kidney that we can now make it of the same tissue type as the person who needs the transplant.
Crikey! So does AI help with that? Is it all to do with the AI?
AI has been a massive use, massive support, because the thing that AI does is very, very good at manipulating data, and you can what we've needed to do is analyse, massive amounts of data to try and look for the breakthrough opportunities, particularly with genetic mutations, gene types, etc. So AI has certainly helped there. and the ability to almost create specific stem cells that do specific jobs, sort of HLA typed sperm and genetically typed stem cells that do the job that we require, has really come forward in leaps and bounds since the advent of AI, big data analysis, which has allowed scientists to analyse huge sets of results. So, yeah, it has helped, but the idea of growing kidneys in the laboratory was certainly around 20 odd years ago, and we had this whole evolution of using xenograft or animal kidneys as well, which is a controversial subject, but certainly back 20, 30 years ago, we were using genetic manipulation to create kidneys that would be accepted by the human immune system. So the whole of the science around transplantation and chronic disease management is moving forward at probably a faster rate than it's ever before in history.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It really is. Well, I will think of something for next month, David. I always like to try and find a challenge for you. I don't think this one was a challenge for you, though, because it's your thing, isn't it?
Well, it's always good to just scratch my head and think, what are we going to be asked? And then I get asked how to keep a kidney healthy. And
I would do that next time. I promise to do that next time. I'll at least tell you what the first question is.
I know how to treat ill ones, and then how do I keep them healthy?
Yeah, you know how to take them out and put them back in again. That's the main thing.
Well, exactly that.
How's the clinic doing, and how can people get in touch with you?
It's all going well, yes.
Good.
The clinic's going well. We've just started, we've just introduced aesthetic plastic surgical services now to the service. We've got two very high, very good UK surgeons now coming regularly to Gibraltar. They are sort of award-winning surgeons who do all types of aesthetics, from breast augmentation and reduction work through to tummy tucks, to facelifts and nasal surgery, etc. So that's very exciting. That's new for Gibraltar.
Yeah. Never
been done before here in Gibraltar. Obviously, we've had
that's
services, but actually being done physically in Gibraltar now with in our place, which is good. We are beginning to do some orthopedic surgery, and everything's really ticking up, which was going very well. We've had a very busy month so far.
And your new website?
The new website, I think it needs us to add more to it, but it certainly points people in the right direction, and they can see what we're doing, which is good. And that's www.gibmed.gi. And we are available in Gibraltar on 350 plus 350 200 49999 or info@gibmed.gi. All the addresses are changing because we're rebranding the Specialist Medical Clinic into GibMed, and we've got a primary care general practice service which is evolving now, and then we've got the hospital service.
Great stuff.
With the frontier hopefully opening, it means it'll be easier for people to visit us, which is nice.
Yeah,
you won't get stopped at the border and be stamped.
Oh, it'll be great, that will. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to going to Morrison's and coming to see your clinic as well.
Yes, exactly. Come to Morrison's and see us and have something done. Come and see us and just have a coffee. We've got a coffee pot as well.
Oh, that's perfect. I'll go anywhere for a coffee, to be quite frank. David, as always, it's been great to chat to you. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Have a good month.
Have a great day.
Bye. Bye.